Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about transit south node, square, opposition, or inconjunct one's natal Black Moon Lilith. Now, when we're talking about transit south node, it could be about what we're going away from, the past, what you're leaving behind, what you could be naturally proficient or adept in at the time, overdeveloped and redundant qualities. Now, when you have the transit of the south node basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Black Moon Lilith, so I'm going to elaborate on that. When I say basically adverse aspect, okay, now squares and oppositions, of course, those aspects are negative and adverse in astrology. Now, the inconjunct aspect, though it's neutral, neutral aspects can have good and bad qualities in them, coupled with the fact that an inconjunct can often require an adjustment or transition. So, and that of course can cause in turn some exasperation and tension. So basically, collectively, I do see this as an adverse transit. Now, when you have transit, when you have transit south node, basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Black Moon Lilith, well, could manifest in what you're going away from, what you're leaving behind, the past, what you could be naturally proficient or adept in, and overdeveloped and redundant qualities. These things might actually conflict with the dark side, or that nefarious side of the Black Moon Lilith. Now, the thing about this is, if you're trying to get away, from some of the darker energy that's connected with the Black Moon Lilith, it could be very difficult. If the natal Black Moon Lilith, say, is in Scorpio, as an example, it could be, you might have a quality that might be where you're somewhat provocateur, I guess you could call it, and trying to get an acerbic response out of somebody else in order to manipulate them and get them in trouble. As an example, I know somebody that has the natal Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, and she may not have consciously been aware of it or cognizant of it, but she was pretty good at doing that. And the thing about this is, as well, is that the Black Moon Lilith can be that nefarious side, and that side you don't want unveiled, and it can be, it's also connected. I mean, the fact that the Black Moon Lilith, the South Node is connected with the past, and it could be something from the past, connected with the dark side. Maybe it's harder to get away from, or it could be, somebody that was a formidable adversary in the past. The Black Moon Lilith can be connected with powerful enemies, and it could be somebody that you might have known from the past. Very powerful enemy, formidable adversary, what have you, may be harder to get away from at this time. And if it's, say, if the natal Black Moon Lilith is in the 7th house and/or Libra, it could be maybe it was a legal opponent. This could be also, too, as far as this transit goes. Keep in mind, the Black Moon Lilith is connected, can be connected with the very negative manifestation of the sign. And the fact is, when you have, like, say, if the natal Black Moon Lilith is in Aquarius, it could be very, idiosyncratic, rebellious behavior, non-conforming behavior. Somebody that it could indicate a person that thrives on causing, some kind of disruption. And when you have, the transit of the South Node, what can make it tough is that the South Node can be connected with overdeveloped and redundant qualities, and the fact is, those things, could prevent you at this time from trying to embrace the higher, level of the placement of the Black Moon Lilith. I mean, the Black Moon Lilith, you can, the higher it is, the higher level that can be attained if you're able to get through the negative part of the placement. And again, the Black Moon Lilith is connected with that side you want suppressed, that you don't want unveiled. It could be that part that you kind of keep in the closet, basically, that you feel, if it comes out, it could open up, a can of worms, so to speak, and cause, might be some repercussions, whether it's a criminal background that you don't want to come out. If you let's say if you have this in Scorpio and or the 8th house, it could be connected with a criminal background. Even if it's in the 12th house, it could be something connected with incarceration. The 12th house is connected with imprisonment, or even if it's in Pisces, could be another example. Now, another thing too is, in the fact is that side that you don't want to come out. It could be that somebody from the past, might have some play a role, sadly, in bringing this out. Because remember that you're talking about basically an adverse transit, and the South Node is connected with the past. The Black Moon Lilith is connected with that side that you may want to keep suppressed and you don't want unveiled. And somebody may play a negative role in that part that you don't really want to come out, and that could be somebody from the past at this time. And the thing about this as well is that the Black Moon Lilith is also, it could be somebody that actually plays a provocative or prominent role in your life scheme. The South Node, that could be somebody from the past. You might be torn between activities with these people at this time. It could be that someone from your past has some pressing issue they need you for. And the thing is, the fact that the Black Moon Lilith can be connected with somebody that's playing or had played a provocative role in your life could be trying to pull you away from that at this time. It could also be harder to get away from people that have played a prominent role in your life or are currently doing so. If you're trying to find a time where for isolation and retreat from these people, I'd say good luck, because it could be very hard to do so at this at the time of this transit. Now, the thing about this transit too is keep in mind that South Node could be connected with what might be affecting you to your detriment. And the thing about it is, if you're trying to deal with that this time, it can be a situation where it might be harder, because the Black Moon Lilith is also can be connected with trauma. It could be physical, it could be emotional or physical trauma, or some kind of abuse. And if you're trying to deal with something that's affecting you to your detriment, it's obviously can be harder and more taxing. You're talking about basically an adverse transit. It'd be harder, more taxing to deal with some kind of trauma, whether it's some kind of emotional torment or turmoil, or whether it's a actual physical related matter. If the natal Black Moon Lilith is in, say it's in Gemini, it could be some issues with the arms, or the hands or the nerves, or some breathing or an issue or something connected with the lungs, as an example. Now, another thing about the Black Moon Lilith, it's also connected with fixation and obsession. And the South Node, again, being connected is what you're trying to get away from. It can be harder to get away from issues you may be fixated on, and that's connected with your Black Moon Lilith placement. Or another thing is, keep in mind the South Node can be about what you may be naturally proficient or adept in at the time. In trying to do something like this, it could, when you're having basically an adverse aspect to the natal Black Moon Lilith, which is connected with fixation and obsession, it could be an over-fixation with what you feel naturally comfortable in at this time. And it could be, or it could just simply be trying to be being torn between what you feel comfortable in and something that you may be fixated with at this time. So it can be a difficult transit, of course, to deal with at this point in time. And anyway, now another way this transit may manifest, it could be someone from the past may adversely affect you trying to embrace the higher level of the placement. Say, for example, if the transit South Node is in Taurus in the 3rd house, it could be somebody in the past that was very avaricious or greedy, which could be Taurus, and it could be a neighbor, which is the 3rd house, someone you knew from your early education, Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, it may also be harder to get away from, which is the south node, from the dark side, which is the Black Moon Lilith of the placement. Let's say, for example, if the natal Black Moon Lilith is in Scorpio in the 4th house, it could be a very sadistic, which is Scorpio, in a negative manifestation. It could be very sadistic, maybe toward home and family members, which is the 4th house, or simply people you're close to home with. As an example, now also to another way this transit may be expressed, it could be something that might have affected you to your detriment, which is the south node, may challenge activities with people that are have a prominent role in your life, which is the Black Moon Lilith. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit south node is in Aquarius in the 8th house, it could be doing something, as far as something to your detriment that could be happening. You could be dealing with cyber, like internet, computer, which is Aquarius, crime, which is the 8th house. And this is just something that, again, it can be a rather hard transit, to deal with at this time. And anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.